Whether you're just looking to escape the 9 to 5, you're already mowing lawns and you want to add on another profitable service, or you're 18 and older, love the green industry, and are looking for a way to make money with a recurring service other than mowing, then this video is for you, as I am going to tell you everything you need to do to hit the ground running, to start your lawn fertilization and weed control business and make money fast. So here's the first thing you need to understand about running a lawn fertilization and weed control. This isn't just mowing grass. It's a higher barrier to entry with a higher profit margin, recurring revenue, as well as scalable routes. Think about it. If you charge $50 to $75 per application, let's just say an average, for 6 apps a year, which is a typical packaged program that most people would run, and you have 100+ clients, you do the math on that, that's quite a bit of gross profit that you can use to fund the operation, pay yourself, and take home a little bit of profit. It's a pretty nice looking paycheck, let me tell you right now. So I want to go ahead and specify it is not all glitz and glamour and just buy a spray truck and you're in the spray business, if you will, right? There are a couple of steps to get started. The barrier to entry is a little bit higher with this service, but hey, you know what? I guess there is a little bit of give and take when it comes to offering a service with a higher profit margin than just mowing lawns, right? So anyway, with that being said, what do you need? Well, in the very beginning, you do need to get licenses, and I'm not just talking about business licenses, although that is very important. If you are running a recurring route service in the lawn industry, it is important that you have general liability, umbrella coverage, all that stuff on your tools and equipment. But another license you're going to need, depending on the state you're in, is going to be a lawn fertilization and weed control license. You're going to have to contact your state's agriculture department. For me in Indiana here, that's the Office of the Indiana State Chemist, and the category you're looking for is turfgrass management. For Indiana, that's a 3B, and the registration to take the test can be anywhere from $55 to $100, depending on what category you're getting. Now, speaking of categories, one of the reasons it is cool to start a spray business, I just want to go ahead and throw this in there. One of the reasons it is cool to start a spray business is because of the lucrative licensing. Once you take off with a lawn fertilization and weed control business, you could simply get into another category in conjunction with your weed control business, like ornamental fertilization, mosquito control, perimeter pest control. The list is endless on these services that you can upsell in conjunction with it to get you into more places, which makes it a really profitable business where you can make a lot of money with really scalable routes. Office of Indiana State Chemist, or whatever your state agriculture department is, it often goes through the state's biggest university, so you will have to do a little bit of research. But once you get that information on where to go, you pay for the registration to take the test, study the material in and out, because depending on where you take the test, they're going to pull questions out of a database of 400 questions. It's usually going to be like 55 or 56, but you get the books, you study them in and out, you know every single aspect. Even if you're a turf expert, make sure you know those books in and out, because when you take the test, they will throw some questions at you, and it's very important that you know the answer to every single one of them, because they can throw a random set of questions to you at a random time. Let's say maybe you don't pass the test the first time, it's not going to be the same test the second time. So it's very, very important that when you take the fertilization and weed control test, or really any test at your local ag department, that you know every question that's going to be on the database. And the only way to do that is to study the books in and out before you take the test, a month or two, whatever it takes you. But get the books, read them, study them. There's no shortcut around it. And then once you know that knowledge and you're confident, then go ahead and book the test. I went ahead and did that at my local test taking center. That was Ivy Tech. Went ahead and took that test, got it done the first time, took my core, took my 3B, and just like that, I got my lawn fertilization and weed control license. And I can tell you, it was no easy task. You really do have to study. You do have to put in the work. And once you do, you have a license that allows you to make more money. Let's talk about that part right now. Once you've gotten your license, now we need to go ahead and talk about equipment. Now, when it comes to starting any service business, you don't need the best of the best to get started. As a matter of fact, when I started my lawn fertilization and weed control service, I was already offering mowing, so I just used my mowing truck. Your setup doesn't have to be very much in the very beginning. All you need is a truck to get you from A to B, and a backpack sprayer if you're doing liquid, or a push spreader if you're doing granular. And you could simply go out and do a batch of 5,000 square foot lawns with that setup. And then as you get a little bit bigger and you make a little more money, you can reinvest in the business once you have the option to do so. Pay your bills, be responsible, of course. But as you get to the point where you have the option, then you can get some bigger equipment that will allow you to either A, do those smaller lawns in a less amount of time, or B, take on bigger commercial properties. It's a very lucrative business. You can go whatever direction you want. And then once you decide what your means of application is going to be, you need to go ahead and figure out your fertilization and weed control products. As you guys know, if you're going to do a granular fertilizer, I do recommend a push spreader, but as far as weed control goes, I do not recommend weed and feed products. I just recommend you actually carry a hand can on the side to spot spray for weeds. It's going to save on chemical cost, and it's going to ensure that you're only spraying the herbicide where it needs to be, because this stuff can get a little expensive, if I'm being honest with you. And one of the ways to save on chemical cost is being very selective on where you spray weeds. It's called integrated pest management, which means that we do not treat for a pest unless it is either A, visible, or presents a threat to our existing crops. So if you're doing granular and you want to do liquid weed control in conjunction with it, a hand can where you walk the lawn up and down and you spot spray the weeds may take a little more time, but in the beginning it's going to save you the chemical cost and you're going to go home with a higher profit margin. So that's how I'd recommend it if you were doing granular. And then of course a standard entry-level push spreader will be good for the fertilization and weed control. Now if you're going to do liquid, I recommend you have 2 backpack sprayers, one for your fertilizer and one for your weed control, because if you're doing liquid fertilizer and you're going to blanket that across the lawn, you don't always want to blanket the weed control unless, of course, you're dealing with lawns that have weeds everywhere. That's the only time I would say it's okay. But you want to have one for your blanket fertilizer and one for your weed control to go over again and spot spray the weeds so you could save on that chemical cost. That's how I did it in the very beginning, and I actually have a couple of friends I talk to this day who operate lawn fertilization startups with nothing but push spreaders and backpack sprayers, and they're making a killing, and it's only a matter of time until they're able to take that money and reinvest in equipment that allows them to do the same job in a little bit less time. Start small, start simple, and then once you get to a certain point, then you can take that money and reinvest in bigger, better equipment that allows you to knock it out quicker, which we'll talk about in future videos. When you guys are choosing your fertilizer products in the very beginning, I would even recommend you do this, and that is to partner with a supplier, whether they're local or across state lines, because when you get with a company who makes professionally formulated products, they're actually going to be able to give you guys something that's a little more unlocked, a little more custom with relation to what you're looking to achieve in your lawn fertilization and weed control program. Definitely avoid big box stores at all costs. I even recommend this for residential people who want to take care of their own lawn. I recommend they avoid it at all costs because the products there are just not what you're going to be looking for at all. So I would definitely recommend partnering with a professional supplier like these guys right here. If you guys are in the United States and you're looking to run a spray business, Greene County Fertilizer, I've been with them for a very long time. And what's cool about a company like them is they will make custom blends that are ideal for your situation. You tell them what you want to accomplish and they'll make a blend that's just like that, or at the very least similar to that. So it's a very good thing to keep in mind. Partner with a professional company that makes professional quality products that are meant for professionals, that are within your budget, of course, depending on what you're looking to charge. And if you do that, you're going to have better quality products all around that are going to give you a better result. Definitely better than something you would get at a big box store, as those are more for homeowners, right? You don't want that stuff. You want commercial quality products at a decent price, and quite frankly, that's what these guys are going to give you. Quite frankly, they're also going to work with you depending on what your goals are, whatever you want to keep your products at, whatever percentage of your revenue you want to spend on your products, they're going to work with you to keep you within that budget. So it's a great thing to think about. You definitely want to partner with somebody who can make a custom blend that's specific to the goals you want to achieve in your spray business. That would be my tip to you. So once you've gotten your equipment and your weed control, now it's time to start thinking about how you're going to sell these packages to your customers. You don't have to be too complicated here. You just need to figure out what your package is going to be, and then you need to go ahead and sell that to your customers. So if you're going to have a 6-step plan, make sure you sell a 6-step plan in your advertising. If you're going to have an 8-step plan, sell it that way. And when you are marketing the service, make sure you're very specific about the rates for what those customers are going to be paying, whether it's going to be $399 a year, for example, or $65 an application. As a matter of fact, this is what I'm actually doing today to grow my lawn fertilization business, and it works very well. What we would do is on the streets where we have, say, a small 5,000 square foot lawn, which is surrounded by a litter of 5,000 square foot lawns that still have yet to be snatched up by us, what we would do is we would take a door hanger and we would have a canvasser who would actually go out with us, whether it was me by myself or I'd have a canvasser with me at the same time while I'm treating my existing lawn on that street. I would do the 2 lawns on both sides and the 3 lawns across the street with a door hanger that simply says, "Hey, sorry we missed you. We're actively servicing your area. Your price per application is $65. And that's how we would get clients fast, because we would essentially give them the estimate before they get it. Now, I know that's a video that we can actually delve into another time with how that's executed, but it's a simple way to get your foot in the door with more clients in residential neighborhoods and increase your route density, which is going to be good for your profits. Which brings me to the next segment, and that is marketing. I know I kind of tailed into it a little bit there, but as far as marketing goes in the very beginning, you don't need billboards, you don't need phone ads, you don't need social media in the very beginning. All you need is to get like 1 or 2 lawns on the street and let your results speak for yourself via word of mouth in the beginning. And then once you start to build some momentum, then it's time to start advertising with door hangers and door to door and keeping your advertising costs low. And then as you get to a higher tier, like maybe 100, 150 clients, then you could start thinking about Google My Business listing to amplify that reach even further in your local service area. But in the very beginning, start small. Word of mouth goes a long way. And if you do a good job with your current client yards, that's also going to speak volumes to the potential prospects around. Lawn fertilization and weed control is one of the most profitable niche services you can offer in the green industry, especially if you're willing to learn, put in the work, pass the tests, get the licenses, start small, build some momentum. You can really surprise yourself with what a profitable business you can make, and you could definitely be making 6 figures really quickly, especially if you're very serious about your advertising. So that's how I do it, and I hope it was helpful to you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about it. I recommend you check out some other videos we've made here on the channel where we've actually talked about pricing a little more in depth for lawn fertilization and weed control, as well as how we make $1,000 in a day no matter what. And if you click this button over here, something magical is going to happen. You're going to be seeing more of me on this channel as we delve into the lawn fertilization and weed control business, as well as some tips that can help anybody out there get thick green, double dark green grass. So plenty here for you. We'd love to have you. We'll see you soon.